One of them, I think, apart from the language, Armando, I think social protection, what we've learned today is maybe a concept that is a combination of social services and social transfers and cash benefits and benefits in kind. What we've learned is, I think we all agree, that's a powerful tool to combat poverty and exclusion. I don't think there was any disagreement about that. It's the combination of the two that matters in many cases. We know that. The other message that came out very clearly, very loud and clearly, is a message of integration. You have to integrate the local level activities with the national level activities. You have to define the responsibilities of the individuals, the community, and the state in a rational way. You have to combine social transfers with incentives for reactivation. You have to combine the formal sector and the informal sector systems, because if you don't combine them, they will provide adverse incentives for either part of the economy to not take part or not formalize. So there's a multi-dimension of integration that we've heard, and I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done on the reflection of how that can be instrumentalized on a local level. There's a point that worries me where we haven't really heard the answer. Somewhat it goes back to the Marshall Plan argument. I don't think the Marshall Plan is a universal recipe for any national problem. But there is a major problem of scaling up national experiences to international experience and scaling up local experience to national programs. That requires fiscal commitment on the part of central governments. We should not lose sight of that. That in any case, we need fiscal space to scale up local experience to national and national to international experience. We have not heard much about it, but there is a serious funding problem out there, and there's also a serious focusing problem and priority problem out there. There's one thing that we heard yesterday which didn't come up in the panel, and it didn't come up to the extent I had expected during today's discussion. That's the problem of dependency. Are we creating dependency by having social protection mechanisms either in services or in transfers in place? The answer is there's a risk that we do this. And we've heard it from the European Union that there is a thinking going on how to avoid that. And the only good social protection system, no matter what it is, I don't want to get into the semantic debate, the only good social security system or social protection system is one that avoids dependency. The less dependency you have, the more sustainable these systems are. So that is something that we have to bear in mind. But it does not mean that we should not invest in them to the extent we have to. And there's a fine line between excess dependency and necessary dependency. The last point is one that I think Hassan Diop started off with yesterday. The social misery in this world, the time bomb, the bomb, or whatever you explain it, that basically means characterized by the fact that 10 million children under age 5 die every year unnecessarily because of our indifference and different skills. Indifference is the biggest killer in history. We don't have enormous time to study things, I think, because there are people dying out there. So what we have to do is what we did today is basically, or the last 2 days, we have to exchange our experience and transfer them rapidly so we don't have to make costly events on a national level, and we don't have to reinvent the wheels when it comes to testing things that don't work. It's an enormous saving of lives and financial resources if we can make the systems, or if we can share our experience. The Portuguese government, and here's my thanks to them, have given us the opportunity to create a platform for learning and exchange of experience, and we will scale that up to the extent our resources allow us to do so. So that we will not be excluding in future national experience. But we will also include the ones that did not work, because I think that is as important as sharing the success story.